How can we reimagine education and its role in sustainable human development within the Caribbean region? How do we leverage education as a key mechanism to address some of the pressing issues we face in today's world? The Caribbean Futures of Education Policy Dialogues aim to inspire change, rethink paradigms, and explore forward-looking policy recommendations in education.
The UNESCO's Futures of Education Global Initiative seeks to reimagine the unique role of education in an increasingly complex, diverse, and interconnected global community.
In order for education to change, it is important that many people participate in conversations and reach agreements on what it means to educate students to invent the future and how best to do that. What kind of educational institutions, what kind of an educational ecosystem needs to be built to do that.
Moving towards human and planetary sustainability calls for ecological responsibility to integrate our ways of relating to Earth. This requires an urgent rethinking of education in the 2050 horizon.
Climate change in the Caribbean threatens the availability of what human populations need the most for the health and well-being: clean air, safe drinking water, food, and secure shelters.
When we spoke about climate change, one of the first things that would come to the mind of many Caribbean students is ice caps melting. Yet we do not have ice caps here.
It's very important to expand our capacities for imagining multiple possible future scenarios.
In order to pique interest among the youth, I think we can infuse within our school curriculum activities which allow students to actually get out and experience the environment.
Looking ahead, how can education systems provide values, skills, and attitudes to learners that promote active citizenship and participation in the Caribbean?
The young people are at a point where they are tired of being told that they are the future, as they are most present now, and they do not feel that they're given an equal seat at the table.
The issues of the world don't change if we just focus on ourselves. Thus, a shift must be made to becoming more selfless and caring about people that are not us or people we care about.
And then the question is, what are some of the decisions that we will take today that will shape our future?
Volunteerism, leadership, and government need to be embedded in the civic government courses so that from a young age, children will understand the importance of community, equity, and equality.
It is really important, in my opinion, to meet the youth where they are socially.
As the beginning of an ongoing process of dialogue where various groups such as yourselves will translate those ideas into specific national strategies and regional strategies that will ultimately mobilize the necessary collective leadership to transform the culture of education.
How does education adapt to prepare students for the fourth industrial revolution, embodied by digitalization and automation of work?
COVID-19 has affected the TVET training. It is just through this interaction that you'll have the education system geared in a significant way to meet the needs of the system.
Yeah, what is it about the youth? They lack experience, that's for sure. But really, if we're moving into a new world of new jobs and new skills, and the youth are in fact potentially easier to train.
Many students get into fields that they are unsure what the future will like. It's something that needs to be developed and taken furthermore.
I want my future education to teach me about new technologies to be prepared for the digitalized world.
How can Caribbean education systems and policies enable greater access to and the production of knowledge?
Where do we go next with education in the context of the new normal and the post-pandemic world? Because the changes in the modality of education are challenging us now to look also at the content and the pedagogy of education.
Going back to this idea of culture, strive to undertake a cultural shift toward a culture of learning, and to not only be learning institutions, but also be institutions that learn.
We must reinvent education again and again. Education for the ideal Caribbean citizen calls for investments in human capital for better outcomes for learners, environmental sustainability, and a real right to intervene in decision making. Youth must engage with indigenous cultures and languages. Where we come from shapes where we go.
I would like for education to be in a constant state of progression, always trying to be better than the year before, not solely statistically speaking, but also in the sense that each individual feels as though that the education they're receiving is making them a valuable asset to their communities.
Above all, education must be inclusive, accessible, equitable, and egalitarian. UNESCO emphasizes and promotes inclusion and equity as foundations for quality education by removing barriers to access, participation, and quality of engagement.